Hi everyone, welcome to Cheating Wife Stories Tales. Thanks for joining us. Today we've got a brand new story to share with you, so let's begin. I sat at the large wooden desk in my home office with a grim sense of determination. After reviewing my checklist for the 10th time and ensuring my plans were properly prepared, I leaned back in my chair, closed my eyes, and recalled the events of the past 2 weeks. Our first exchange of emails occurred 12 days ago while I was on a business trip to Memphis. My message was sent to an alluring woman using the username Emily Brown. Emily is a member of a popular, globally recognized website for cheaters that I was drawn to Emily's profile. The headline of her profile read, "Sweet and married, looking to explore." I am a 48-year-old married woman. I have spent more than half my life as a loving wife and mother, dedicating myself to my family, friends, and community. Now, selfishly, I want to explore sex with other men besides my husband. I am incredibly reserved and will only meet with those who are willing to play by my rules. If you're interested, take a risk and introduce yourself. With great interest, I wrote, "Hello. My name is James. I'm 39 years old, married, and intend to stay married, well-educated, and have a professional career. I work as a senior project manager in the computer hardware industry and am overseeing a project near your area. I travel to Hartford weekly and will maintain this schedule until the project is completed in 18 months. I have a fit and athletic physique, short black hair, and dark eyes. People often tell me I'm a handsome man. Sexually, I lean towards dominance and enjoy taking control. I'm not looking for love, I get that at home. Instead, I'm seeking rough, physical, and uninhibited encounters. Like you, I am 100% discreet. I can meet in a public location, somewhere distant from your hometown. This will allow us to connect in the way you need, and we can get to know each other in a safe setting. Then, assuming we decide we are a good match and wish to begin a close friendship, I will stay in a hotel when I'm in town and invite you to my room. I'd be glad to get to know you through email and eagerly look forward to the opportunity to meet you." After sending the message, I checked a few other profiles but didn't find anyone more interesting than Emily. After a brief visit to the nearly empty hotel bar, I went to bed and quickly fell asleep. The next day was busy. My clients in Memphis had several technical meetings scheduled, and I was on the move until early evening. I invited 2 clients to dinner at an upscale seafood restaurant. We managed to leave the stressful day behind and enjoyed a pleasant meal. I grabbed a bourbon on the rocks as I walked through the hotel lobby and took the drink to my room. After changing into athletic shorts and a t-shirt, I powered up my computer. Emily's response had been sent through the website to my email. The message read, "Hello, James. Thank you for introducing yourself. Your message was far more informative than most I've received. Honestly, the majority just write, want to have sex, or something similar. Yours was refreshing. Thank you. A bit more about me, I've been married to the same man for over 20 years. My husband works as an executive in the construction industry. He travels frequently for business, and while he's away, and only when he's away, I meet people. I'm a successful real estate agent. As is typical in my field, my schedule is chaotic. With proper communication and planning, I can arrange meetings during the day or early evening. I've been on this site for over a year now and joined when my youngest child went off to college. I admit that a combination of an empty nest, a frequently traveling husband, and a close divorced friend bragging about her many sexual exploits pushed me toward having affairs. I'm drawn to you for several reasons. I only date married men. I adhere to the political term mutually assured destruction. I'm also glad that you're from another city and have a hotel room. 3 of my past partners were local, and I constantly worried about running into them while out with my husband. In fact, I once saw one of my exes after we ended things at our local airport while I was leaving for a vacation with my husband. Fortunately, he didn't notice me. I'm also thrilled that you're 10 years younger than me. I've never been with a man 10 years my junior. In the year I've been on the site, I've received thousands of messages. I've heard women get far more messages than men. I've had online interactions with more than 25 men and met 8 of them in person over coffee. I've had only 6 affairs, counting 3 one-night stands. The other 3 relationships lasted several months, and each was thrilling in its own way. I have a few questions for you. Do you currently have any other women, besides your wife? What do you dislike about online communication with women? Is this your first affair? What are you looking for in a partner? I want you to understand that we will need to get to know each other through email. I'm not going to jump into bed after just a few days. I can also promise you that I'm worth the effort. I look forward to continuing our conversation. Not wanting to seem overly eager, I read Emily's message, then turned off my computer and headed to the hotel gym. I ran on the treadmill for 30 minutes, lifted dumbbells, and did pull-ups afterward before returning to my room and going to bed. The next morning at 6 o'clock, I arrived at Memphis Airport and flew home. I stopped by the office for a couple of hours to handle some urgent matters. As planned, I met my wife, Jessica, at a local bistro along with her longtime friend Lisa and Lisa's flavor of the week hookup. The dinner and drinks were excellent. The company was barely tolerable. I didn't like Lisa. She was an adulteress with a deep-seated hatred for men. As we left the restaurant parking lot, Jessica knelt on the front seat, leaned over the console, and unzipped my pants. "Keep your eyes on the road, sweetheart," Jessica teased. Jessica had a special talent for making any moment unforgettable. Tonight, she decided to take her time, creating a slow, teasing rhythm that kept me on edge. The drive home took a little over 30 minutes, and Jessica kept up her playful gestures, resting her head on my lap. Early in the drive, I reached over her back, letting my hand trail along her toned thighs, a testament to her dedication at the gym. "You forgot your underwear, my little troublemaker," I read James with a grin. Once we pulled into the garage and the door shut behind us, I lifted Jessica onto the hood of the car and kissed her passionately, my hands tracing her curves as I worked to make her feel cherished. "Hands. Use your hands," Jessica pleaded softly, her voice filled with anticipation. I took my time, ensuring she enjoyed every moment. After she caught her breath, I turned her around gently, guiding her to lean against the car. She responded instinctively, moving in sync with me as we shared an intense and intimate connection. Holding her close, I made sure we both reached a satisfying end. On Saturday, I woke up early and, with a pot of coffee in hand, headed to my home office to finish all the paperwork from the end of the week. I knew Jessica would stay in bed for the next few hours, so I felt safe opening my email and replying to Emily. "Good morning, Emily. My apologies for the delay in responding. Yesterday morning, I flew home, spent the afternoon at the office, and had a date night with my wife in the evening. Since we are both very cautious, can we agree not to be upset if responses are delayed? I hope so. As for your questions, currently, I'm not involved with anyone else. Over the past 3 months, I've been managing 6 small projects. I haven't spent much time in any one city and, as a result, haven't sought a friend with benefits. Our team has successfully completed 4 projects, and I've been assigned the newest one in Hartford. The Hartford project is extensive and requires consistent on-site supervision. This means I'll be visiting your area frequently. In the evenings, I'll have the opportunity to host a guest at my hotel regularly. I started dating 7 years ago and, in total, have had 16 affairs. 5 were one-night encounters, 8 lasted several months, and 3 discreetly continued for a year or longer. What do I like the least? Liars. I've developed a habit of being open and honest. If I don't want to answer a question, I'll let you know. I won't lie. All the one-night encounters involved incredible intimacy with women seeking lasting friendships. Unfortunately, every one of them disappeared after the first meeting. Emily, you might be thinking, if so many women disappeared after the first date, maybe he's just a bad partner. That's a fair conclusion. However, when each of these women left my room, they were overwhelmed with happiness, pleasure, and satisfaction, and they promised future meetings. If anything, This is my biggest frustration with online dating. I hate liars. What do I like the most? That's very simple. I enjoy the variety that confident, open-minded women bring. Over the past few years, I've had the opportunity to explore beyond just vanilla intimacy. Some women brought toys and other accessories to our meetings. 2 invited their girlfriends to join us, and 1 even asked me to find an additional man for her. Your last question was, what am I looking for? I'm looking for a woman interested in a consistent and, hopefully, long-term affair. She will be attractive and proportionally built. She'll be able to meet a couple of times a month. She'll be a lady in public and an adventurer behind closed doors. I like women who are talkative and aren't afraid to use sexually charged language in private. Ideally, she'll be married. She'll be someone who takes charge in her daily life but wants a man to take control of her in the bedroom. I hope you find my answers appealing. In your last message, you mentioned that your long-term relationships were thrilling in different ways. How exactly were they thrilling? Have a great weekend, and I look forward to sharing more next week. My weekend flew by. On Saturday, I spent a few hours working in the yard, and in the evening, Jessica and I attended a neighborhood barbecue. When we got home, we undressed each other and climbed into bed. On Sunday, after church, Jessica and I went to the country club. We worked out together in the gym before taking a shower and having breakfast in the members' dining room. That day, Jessica spent time cleaning the house, while I went to the grocery store and stocked up on food for the week. Late Sunday evening, after Jessica had gone to bed, I closed the door to my office and checked my email. Emily had replied that same day. She wrote, "James, I completely agree. I will always respond as soon as I can, but if circumstances prevent me, you might have to wait a day or 2. I also promise I won't just disappear. If I decide you're not the right match for me, I'll be honest and tell you, I promise. I also agree that flaky people and liars are the worst part of online dating. Like you, each of my one-night encounters was with men who seemed crushed when it ended. Each promised that our date would be the first of many, only to disappear afterward. It's very disheartening. Thank you for the detailed answers to my questions. So far, I have not been disappointed by what you shared. You inspire me. That's a good thing. I'm also impressed that you didn't demand a photo or ask what I look like. In your last letter, you mentioned that you're looking for an attractive woman. Well, I am attractive. I'm 5 feet 5 inches tall and weigh 138 pounds. My stylish, shoulder-length hair is red, and my eyes are brown. I have a C-cup chest that is, mostly, high and firm. I work out almost daily, and I have a toned, flat stomach, great legs, and a backside that makes men at the gym drool. I mentioned before that each of my 3 long-term affairs was thrilling in its own way. One man was very strong and took what he wanted within my limits. I was incredibly turned on by being used for his pleasure. Fortunately, he also made sure I was satisfied. The second man was black. I still get excited thinking about how sensual it was to witness the contrast of his dark skin against my fair complexion. It was incredibly captivating and made up for what I initially thought was a disappointing size. I admit, I had hoped the myth about black men was true. Unfortunately, my lover turned out to be average in that regard. The third man, my most recent, was a surprising experience, though I didn't realize it when we first started exchanging messages. He was slightly taller than average but very slender. At first, I was a little disappointed, as traditional intimacy didn't bring much satisfaction. However, on our third date, Jake convinced me to try something new for the first time, and it turned out to be an incredible experience. I can only wonder what that kind of experience would have been like with a larger size. I've thought about introducing this kind of intimacy with my husband since he's well endowed. However, after many years of denying him access to that particular option, I don't want to change my behavior and raise his suspicions. My husband has been gone all day and will be home soon, so I'll make this quick. I'm sending you an anonymous, faceless photo so you can take a look at my hot, mature body. I hope you like it. The photo was incredibly alluring, showing Emily from the neck down. She was wearing a wet white t-shirt similar to the ones women wear in wet t-shirt contests during spring break. She looked stunning. As usual, Monday morning was filled with updates and planning meetings. I needed to wrap everything up by the end of the day since I was leaving town the next morning. After lunch, I closed the door to my office and replied to Emily. "Wow. You are an incredibly attractive woman. Hot. Absolutely scorching. Tomorrow, I'm flying to Hartford, and knowing that you're nearby and continuing this conversation will be more than enough to keep me content for today." In my first email, I provided a general description of myself. I'm also pleased to share that I work out daily. I run 20 miles a week and lift weights every other day. I'm in great shape, with well-defined arms, shoulders, and chest. Like your last partner, I'm well endowed and an inch longer than average. I'm also thick. Very thick. I apologize for keeping this email so short. Work is hectic today, and I need to head to my next meeting. I've attached a few photos for you. The 4 photos were quite suggestive. The first showed a toned, gym-trained body from the neck down, dressed in sweat-dampened shorts and a t-shirt. The second image was similar in pose but without clothing, focusing on physical fitness and definition. The third photo featured a close-up of a private moment, with a white man and a stunning African-American woman. In the final image, the same woman appeared in an intimate position, though her upper face was intentionally blurred to maintain privacy and anonymity. Due to my travel schedule and challenges with finalizing the project, my days were packed. Over the next 2 days, I worked late into the evening and didn't check my email. When I finally did, I found 2 messages from Emily. She had written to me on Monday evening, "Your letters keep me constantly on edge. I go through 3 sets of lingerie a day. Oh my God, I'm so stressed. The pictures you sent are incredibly sexy. I used my favorite toy, rabbit, and pampered myself 3 times. I slept so well afterward. Like your pictures with that gorgeous Negro girl, I have saved trophy pics from each of my romances. They are anonymous, but I find them incredibly sexy. I keep them in a subfolder on my work computer and occasionally look through them and enjoy them when I need to. I've attached each of my trophies. I hope they make you just as happy for me." Attached to the email were 6 photos. In each of them, Emily was on all fours, with a different man positioned behind her. Holding the camera high, the man had taken a picture of their intimate moment. I could see her beauty in every photo, as well as her reginsably sexy, large light brown birthdays on the upper part of her left buttock. On Wednesday morning, Emily wrote again, "My mind is clouded as I've been waiting for your next email. I'm going crazy knowing you're in the Hartford area. Last night, I lay in bed with my rabbit buzzing, thinking about you. I can't help but wonder which hotel you stay at when you're here for work. Yesterday, my company signed contracts for 3 new listings. I visited each property to get familiar with the homes. As I walked through each one, I imagined you as a potential client. Tell me, what do you hope our first date will be like? I took 3 very naughty pictures for you. The photos were incredible. I was planning to meet 3 colleagues at the hotel bar for drinks late into the evening. Before heading out, I took a photo of my computer screen with Emily's third picture displayed. It was easy to see the large puddle of my excitement on the dark table next to my laptop in the hotel room. I wrote, "This is for you." I'll write a much longer message later. After having quick drinks with my team, I returned to my room. I wrote to Emily, "I'm staying in a hotel near the convention center in downtown Hartford. The hotel is relatively new and has 2 great restaurants and 2 bars. The parking is excellent. After 6 p.m., the lobby is reserved for guests only. The Marriott isn't a hangout for locals, so it would be unusual for my partner to run into someone she knows. As a real estate agent, you could easily tell anyone you're meeting with a client. That said, if we decide to pursue an affair, I'll stay at any hotel where you feel comfortable. I can stay wherever you prefer. Emily, our emails have become very candid. I'm glad you're excited, and I hope you're starting to think about meeting in person. You asked about our first date. Let me describe it to you. Our first meeting will take place during a workday at a local cafe. You'll be dressed professionally for me, wearing a button-up blouse that highlights your sexy figure. You'll pair it with a skirt and high heels. You'll skip the underwear, tights, or stockings. While we sit together, we'll get to know each other better. In 30 minutes, we'll discover how truthful we've been in our emails. We'll also find out if there's personal chemistry between us. If our meeting and conversation go as well as we both hope, we'll arrange to meet in my hotel room later that evening. I'll walk you from the cafe to your car, and we'll shake hands. I expect that when you get into your car, you'll put on a little show for me. After the show, I'll give you the key to my hotel room, and we'll meet there later that evening. Emily, I expect you to be my obedient plaything. You'll do whatever I want. If your husband is going out of town next week, let's arrange a meeting. When is he leaving? While I was writing to Emily, she replied to my previous photo and email. I'd never seen so much juice. Damn. I think I'll just have to drink it all. You're such a sexy and exciting man. I can't wait for your next email. It was only 11 in the evening. I decided to leave my computer on, expecting Emily to write back again later that night. I took a walk through the hotel bar. Aside from a few solitary businessmen, the place was empty. I ordered a bourbon to be sent to my room. By the time I returned, Emily had replied with a short note. My husband is leaving on Monday. I'm so nervous, but I really want to meet. Can we meet Monday at 9 a.m.? Let's meet at the Starbucks in Wethersfield. It's on Silas Deane Highway, near Marshall's. I'll dress as you requested. I'm bringing my rabbit and plan to use it for pleasure while you watch. It'll be quite the show, I promise. I can't wait for Monday evening. I want to be your married plaything. I'll let you use me. Wow. You're driving me crazy. I flew home on Friday, and we had a normal weekend. On Friday, we had dinner at a restaurant, and when we returned home, we had sex. On Saturday, Jessica and I joined another couple for a round of golf, followed by drinks and dinner. After another intimate moment on Sunday morning, we went to church and then to the gym. Sunday was a beautiful day. I grabbed a book and read for a couple of hours. It was a peaceful day. It was 8:10 a.m. on Monday when I heard Jessica close the bathroom door. The noise pulled me out of my thoughts about the past 2 weeks. I got up from my desk and walked to the kitchen. Filling a mug with coffee, I sat down at the kitchen table. I heard the click of Jessica's heels as she came down the carpeted stairs and walked down the tiled hallway toward the kitchen. Jessica, in her pre-coffee morning haze, went straight to the coffee pot. I calmly watched as she poured a cup and stirred in a teaspoon of sugar. She took a satisfied sip, turned around, saw me, and let out a startled squeal. "Chris," she exclaimed. "You scared the daylights out of me. I thought you'd already left for the airport." I took a slow, deep sip from my mug before responding. "The trip is canceled. Jessica and I have been married for 23 years, and in that time, I've learned to read her like a book." She was trying to appear unbothered, calm and composed. But in reality, she was panicking. She casually walked over to the bookshelf at the end of the kitchen table. Every night for the past 15 years, Jessica had charged her laptop and phone there before going to bed. Noticing the space was empty, she asked, "Chris, what did you do with my phone and laptop?" Instead of answering, I took another sip of coffee and asked, "Why aren't you wearing underwear?" "What? What the hell are you talking about?" "I'm talking about the fact that you're not wearing underwear. Why are you naked under your blouse and skirt?" Jessica's face started to flush as she replied, "Don't be a creep. I'm wearing underwear." She began to slowly back away from the kitchen. Before she could take 2 steps, I asked, "Why are you lying to me? How dare you accuse me of lying? What's gotten into you?" I wasn't fazed. "Jessica, I can see how your chest moves under your blouse with every step you take. You're not wearing a bra. I've also seen you 100 times wearing a skirt without panties. When you do, you exude sexuality, just like this morning. I know you're not wearing panties. When she didn't respond, I added, just lift your skirt and prove me wrong. As our staring contest continued, I stood up from the table and started walking toward her. Stop! Jessica shouted. Jessica, I interrupted, one of us is going to lift your skirt. You can do it now, or I'll do it. You have 2 seconds. Fine. I admit it. I'm not wearing underwear. You're right. I wanted to feel sexy today. I wanted to have a playful little secret. What's the big deal? There's nothing wrong with wanting to feel sexy. I find it exciting. Jessica smiled. After a few moments, I continued, but that doesn't explain why you lied to me. I'm curious, how often do you lie? I'm not lying to you, Chris. You caught me off guard, and I was embarrassed. Jessica thought the conversation was over, so she pointed to the bookshelf again and asked, What did you do with my phone laptop? I wanted to know where you're heading so early in the morning. Where the hell do you think I'm going? I'm going to the office, she snapped, sounding defensive. Returning to my seat, I took a sip of my quickly cooling coffee. Looking her directly in the eyes, I said, You're lying again. Jessica reacted as if I had slapped her. Growling like a mother bear, she said, How dare you? That makes it twice. Twice in 5 minutes you've lied to me. I can't help but wonder if lying to me has become routine. Where the hell are my laptop and phone? I need to get away from you before I say something I'll regret. When I didn't respond, Jessica shouted, Where are my devices? I want them right now. They're locked in my safe, I replied calmly. Pointing toward the front door, I added, Feel free to leave, but your electronics are staying here. The best word to describe Jessica's expression was shock. It was as if she had been transported to a new world where nothing made sense. She visibly composed herself, walked to the kitchen table, and sat across from me. Taking a deep breath, she asked, Honey, could you explain to me how, after we kissed goodnight and said, I love you, last night, we ended up with this mess this morning? After thinking for a few seconds, I slowly nodded and said, I lied. You lied? Fine. What did you lie about, darling? Looking directly into Jessica's eyes, I told her, I lied about loving you. I was surprised that Jessica managed to keep her emotions in check. A few moments passed before she asked, You don't love me anymore? I admitted, I'm not sure 2 decades of love can ever be entirely destroyed, but it's close. Sweetheart, I'm too confused to understand the meaning of this conversation. You need to explain everything to me so I can understand. I'll be happy to do that if you'll do me a favor, I replied. I'll do anything, darling. You know that. Jessica answered, For the rest of this discussion, I don't want you to call me, honey, sweetheart, darling, or any other term of endearment. In fact, I don't want you to call me Chris. Jessica actually smirked and said, All right, then. What should I call you? I pretended to consider her question. After a moment, I said, Call me James. I watched Jessica closely. She must have been more confused than I thought, because my obvious hint went right over her head. I continued, I'm not going to call you Jessica. Once again, I pretended to think as I watched a strange, condescending smile spread across Jessica's face. Instead, I think, I'll call you, Emily. Her smile vanished almost instantly. I went on, Emily and James. James and Emily. Sounds like 2 lying, cheating married fools. Don't you agree? Jessica's face turned ghostly pale, and within seconds, she vomited her morning coffee and the remnants of last night's dinner onto the table and her lap. Covering yourself in puke seems fitting for a lousy adulteress. I suggest you take a shower. I'll be in my office if you want to continue this conversation. Chris. Jessica's eyes were filled with desperation. Go take a shower and change out of your adulterous attire. You reek of betrayal. It was almost 90 minutes before Jessica returned. She was wearing jeans, a shirt, and sneakers. She walked into my office and dropped into the chair across from my desk. After her shower, she somehow looked worse, but at least she smelled much better. "Chris, you have to believe me. It was just online sex. I swear. I've never been with anyone in person. It was just stupid online nonsense." "You're lying." "No. Don't say that. Since the day we got married, I've never touched anyone but you. I've seen it. I saw the photos. All 6 of them. 6 different men. Different shapes and sizes. Different colors. 6 pairs of male hands on the same world-class backside. A world-class backside with the exact same large, bean-shaped birth James. It was you, Jessica. Stop lying. Just stop this damn lying." Jessica doubled over, trembling as she cried into her hands. I let her cry until she finally stopped. She was about to say something, but I raised both hands to stop her. "Now it's my turn to talk." I pulled open the desk drawer, took out a small stack of papers, and slid it across the table to Jessica. "What is this?" she asked. "It's my divorce petition." "No!" Jessica screamed. "I don't want a divorce. Bill Murphy will file it today. If you don't go to his office and officially sign a copy of the petition, you'll be served by the end of the week. What don't you understand? I don't want a divorce. I've taken all the money from our vacation fund," I told Jessica. "I used it as a down payment on an apartment in downtown West Hartford. It has 2 bedrooms, so the girls can visit me during their college breaks. How are you going to explain to the girls that you're destroying our happy family?" "That's easy, Jessica. I'm going to tell them their mother is a lying, cheating adulteress who's been with at least 6 men over the past 2 years. You have to understand," Jessica pleaded. "The kids are grown and living on their own. You're always traveling. I was bored. I needed some excitement. It was just sex. It didn't mean anything. Let me try to understand. So it's the kids' fault and my fault that you became an online adulteress?" "I didn't say that," she shouted. "Please, stop calling me those awful names." I laughed at her last comment and reminded her. "You told James you wanted to be an adulteress. Those are your words, Jessica. You said it." Jessica asked, "How did you know?" "I was so careful." "You were careful and never let me know how much you despised me." Jessica nearly jumped out of her chair but leaned back and began to cry when I waved her off dismissively. "You were careful, but your last fling wasn't. His real name is Jake Kaplan. His wife suspected he was cheating. She hired a private investigator who uncovered your affair. She sent me a copy of the report. It includes 3 videos of your recent encounters." Jessica continued to sob quietly. "I want you to know that I was able to identify 4 out of your 5 other flings using the saved emails. All of them are married. I will provide their wives with evidence of their husbands' affairs with you, including your name and contact information." After a few moments, I added, "I'll be calling the girls, our parents, and our siblings soon. I won't go into details, but I'll tell everyone that I'm divorcing you because of your infidelity. I won't be the bad guy in this mess." 5 months later. It was late on a Friday evening. I had just landed at the airport and was heading to my new home. Since I hadn't had dinner, I stopped at a trendy new restaurant in downtown West Hartford. I was sitting at the bar, my plate cleared, and my bill paid. I was enjoying the last sips of my Merlot when I felt a hand on my shoulder. A woman said, "I've wanted to apologize to you, but I wasn't sure how you'd take it." Recognizing the voice, I turned and saw Lisa, Jessica's man-hating friend. "Why would you need to apologize to me?" Lisa sat down next to me, sighed, and said, "I think my stories about my sexual adventures might have influenced Jessica and contributed to her cheating." "Your stories?" I laughed. You're probably right, Lisa. But it was Jessica who created a complex online life. Our breakup is her fault. I accept your apology, but it's unnecessary. She's a complete mess. I'm worried about her. Many people are. I know from the girls and her father that she's seeing a therapist and trying to improve her life. I hope she keeps it up. Chris, I have to ask. Is there any hope, even the slightest chance, that you could call off the divorce and try again? Jessica loves you so much. At that moment, I felt a hand on my shoulder again. Someone leaned in and said, "Are you already replacing me?" I turned and smiled at Yana. Gently kissing her on the lips, I nodded toward Lisa and said, "I'd like to introduce you to an old friend, Lisa McGregor. Lisa, meet Yana Flynn." After the two women shook hands, I stood up, took Yana by the hand, and said, "It's time to go." I smiled and wished Lisa a good night, while Yana added, "There's no hope, Lisa. He's mine, I'm not letting him go," and so we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected, or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below and let's get a conversation going. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.